mastermind of the terror attacks and 4 other defendants. The family sent a letter to the White House this week asking President Biden to stop any potential plea deal for the terrorists being held at Guantanamo Bay. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Calling all night owls, Buffalo Wild Wings is open late. Fill up on some tasty apps with an ice cold tall beer starting at $4. Late night food and drinks start at $4 from 10 till close at B-Dubs. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. 13 years after the NCAA shut him down and took his Heisman Trophy, former USC star Reggie Bush is hitting back with a lawsuit. Bush is suing the NCAA for defamation of character. Bush has scheduled a press conference Wednesday morning at the Coliseum to discuss his lawsuit. Bush claims the NCAA made false allegations about him in 2021 when the organization announced it was not reinstating his collegiate records or returning his Heisman Trophy. The NCAA reported that Bush had a pay-for-play arrangement when he was at USC from 2002 to 2005. Bush was also accused of receiving improper benefits, including a mortgage-free home for his family. To this day, Bush has not denied that he accepted improper benefits from an alleged USC booster. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Wake up, Mr. West, Mr. West, Mr. Fresh, Mr. By himself, he's so impressed. I mean, damn, did you even see the test? You got D's, motherfucker D's. Rosie Perez, and yes, barely passed any and every class. Looking at every ad, cheated on every test. I guess this is my dissertation. Homie, this is basic. Welcome to graduation. Good morning.
KBLA, good morning. Welcome in. I'm so excited to have in studio with us a TV, music, and media lawyer. She's got more than 25 years of experience, and she is also an activist, a trendsetter, a trend seer, so much more. She's currently serving as Executive Vice President of Scripted Business and Legal Affairs for FremantleMedia North America. Nyanza Shaw, Attorney Nyanza Shaw. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Dominique. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you in. I could probably talk to you for 3 hours. You have so many different areas of expertise. But I want to start with you, right? You. How did you get from all these accolades? I can actually sit here and read the bio for an hour, but I won't. To being a decorated, highly recognized, woman attorney, vice president, etc. And you are an advocate for girls and women. So what's the here to there line for Nyanza Shaw?
Well, because we don't have 3 hours, I'll abbreviate that. There's a lot of ups and downs and challenges, et cetera, of getting to this level. However, growing up in the Bay Area and being into music, into entertainment, et cetera, and always wanting to be an attorney, but understanding that, artists need advocates. And that was always my perspective in terms of going into the business. And then part of that is, as a Black woman, also advocating for myself. So for a long time, right, it starts there. So for a long time, I had my own practice and, just built relationships based on not only, again, advocating for myself, advocating for my clients, artists, creatives, et cetera, but then just building a reputation of doing great work, making sure that you're building great relationships with people throughout the industry and that they know, that you're coming to the table with the right experience, the right expertise, the right positioning, the right connections, and then making all of those things kind of work. And then somehow 20-something years passes.
Right, that part. Back to the Bay Area, Mills College, there is something about, and I've been adopted by LA now, as I'm sure you have. Yeah. But there's something about that Bay Area Foundation, which is, I don't know if it's something in the water, which is a lot of outspoken and advocates as women.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for sure. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about, obviously, Black Panther in the Bay Area and other folks that come out of there, but it is an idea of that we have an independent spirit, a little different than LA. But again, I've been here over 20 years as well, so you just embrace what that is, but it's a great foundation, and I love that I have that foundation.
I also, something that struck me when you were just talking is little Nyanza Shaw going, I want to be an attorney. and where does that come from?
I absolutely was little Nyanza Shaw, like 9 years old, saying, I want to be an attorney. I have had an uncle who's an attorney and talked to him a lot about what that looked like, but also, I didn't know the fundamental piece of what it really looked like. But I admired him, and in terms of the conversations I had growing up with him, just, again, made a great impression on me. And then in thinking about the creative arts and how I could help artists without, being in the business. Obviously, in our community, there's a lot of people who want to be talent. And there's nothing wrong with that because we also have a lot of talented people in our community.
Right.
so it makes sense.
That works out pretty well.
So it works out pretty well. But I knew I wanted to have some sort of role, impact, et cetera, in the business, and I felt like this was the best way for me to kind of make that happen.
And this dedication, pay it forward, each one teach one situation, you are pretty committed to helping young women. Where does that come from, and how is it manifesting?
It comes from the fact that I appreciate everything that I've been able to accomplish. And I never want to be in a space where I feel like I'm hiding the ball from anyone. And so I do mentor a lot of young women, a lot of young lawyers, a lot of young law students. And it is important to me to be able to pass down information, pass down experience, pass down knowledge, because I feel like we're, only stronger as we grow. And at some point, I'm going to retire and be on a beach, and we need somebody doing these things, right? We need some sort of legacy there that can continue. And I want to make sure that they have that same foundation that I had, and to do anything that they want to do, honestly.
Yeah. I have a theory about that, too. It's the unofficial Dominique DePrima School of Broadcasting. If you don't train the person to give you that break, you can never get to that beach.
Exactly. You got to build somebody up. Like, who's going to do this next?
Yeah, next? And I think as Black folks, we could be a little better at succession planning.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Talking with attorney Nyanza Shaw, and I'm looking forward to getting your take on where this industry is going. It's changing so fast. We're having a hot labor summer. We're in a moment, and so many new elements coming in. I love to get your thoughts on trends and how we can be on the right side of history here when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Need help with the job hunt? It can be challenging, but don't worry. LA County has your back. With a variety of available support services, you'll get the help you need while finding a job. We're here to help you succeed. Let's get started. Find out if you qualify at recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. That's recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. LA County and you, moving forward together.
Support comes from Getty, presenting The Gospel at Colonus, a theatrical event under the stars that reimagines the story of Oedipus. Blending Greek myth with Black spiritual practice, the show follows the blinded Oedipus as he seeks redemption after a lifetime of tragedy. Co-produced by Court Theater, conceived and adapted by Lee Brewer, with music composed by Bob Telson. Thursdays through Saturdays this September at the Getty Villa Museum. Tickets available now at getty.edu.
Don't settle for bumps, ingrowns, and itch due to dry skin. Venus for Pubic Hair and Skin is here with the only razor and regimen specifically designed for your pubic area, featuring a razor with the patented irritation defense bar and skincare regimen that is dermatologist and gynecologist tested. Venus helps protect your pubic skin from shave irritation. Visit GilletteVenus.com to learn more about our full regimen of products.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
Dominique DePrima here. Listen, engaging kids in conversations about finances can be a great way to teach them about money management and financial independence. You don't need to review accounts in detail, but simply having an intentional conversation can really go a long way. Like talk to them about goals, using conversation starters like how to make decisions about saving and spending money, recycling black dollars. These conversations can help build a long-lasting foundation for a strong financial future. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Extreme heat can make you very sick and can be deadly. For Californians 65 and over, it's important to have a plan. Ask your healthcare provider if your medications affect your ability to cool down. Know the signs of heat illness and stroke, as well as the location of your nearest cooling center or air-conditioned space. And if you have loved ones over 65, be sure to check in on them on hot days. Learn how to stay safer from extreme heat at heatreadyca.com. Brought to you by the state of California.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney Nyanza Shaw is with me. It's funny, we were just talking with Superintendent, former school superintendent Austin Butner, and your focus on arts and, and law and creating opportunity for all. I mean, it feels like there's some overlap there. It seems like a natural flow of the conversation we were having about Proposition 28, bringing arts into the schools, increasing especially low-income folks and Black people in that entertainment pipeline. It feels directly relevant to the work that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, because at the forefront, obviously, the education piece is important, but there's also a level of exposure in Los Angeles that a lot of the city and the business here is obviously related to the entertainment industry. And so bringing those arts into the schools is important because it gives them a different level of exposure into what that business looks like. And again, it goes back to what I was saying about being talented. There's all these other opportunities in the business that a lot of kids don't even realize exist. I'll tell a quick story. Went to speak at a school in Compton a few years ago when I was in middle school. And, I was just talking to the kids about catering and finance and accounting and, all of these set design. It's like, hey, if you're an artist, you can be a set designer. If you're a cook, you can be, do craft services and catering. Like there's all these different ways that you can take your skill and bring it to the entertainment industry. And so having the arts in school and being able to explore those different, potential opportunities is so important.
I mean, and I think if we're being honest, it's grown folks that don't realize it too. Like, you want to be a job, you don't have to necessarily be in front of the mic or in front of the camera. And these are actually careers that have longevity and creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, you mentioned a bunch of them. Talk about a few more that people don't think about that maybe we should.
Yeah. So, one of the things, as we said, we're definitely having a difficult and challenging summer because of the strikes. But people don't realize beyond, the actors, writers, kind of top of the line folks that you see in front of the camera, to your point, there's a lot of below the line folks that work in the business, and that might be hairstylists, makeup artists, costume designers, set designers, all of these people, and even finance folks, production counsel, people that run production houses, caterers, drivers, florists. In LA, everything is interconnected to that, but all of those are businesses that, again, are careers that are entertainment related, that can be very successful businesses that are also now being affected by the strike. But I do think that exposure, like you said, whether it's to kids or even adults, to say, oh, I have an interest in X, they might not see the connection of how they can bring that interest or skill to the business.
Right. If you're, it's Virgo season, if you're that big, picky Virgo, maybe you should be a continuity director.
Absolutely.
That doesn't match. Something's off. I love that. Because
explore it.
Because there's so many, all of us have different skills and they all have a place.
Yeah.
Right? How do you see, it feels to me like we're at a crossroads in this business with streaming and the business models. The writers just put out that report saying that the consolidation of businesses has made some of these big streamers into near monopolies. And the writers and actors are going out. One of the issues is AI. It feels like if we don't get some kind of a deal that is equitable around artificial intelligence, but also streaming residuals, streaming working conditions and stuff, that the business model could change to where this entertainment is just not that attractive as a job or as a destination anymore.
I think that, to your point, it definitely is a crossroads.
Yeah.
But it's also ever changing, right? And so in terms of an evolution is also part of a change. And so I think there's a place here where we're at this crossroads where there's an evolution in what's going on, and there's definitely things that need to be addressed in all points, right? So we recently lost Clarence Avant, and I love that he always talks about, like, everything is about the numbers, right? And so the companies want to make more money, the actors want to make more money, the writers want to make more money, we all want to make more money, right? So when it comes down to that, then you're thinking about, again, where are these jobs, how are the roles, who's being cast, how are people getting paid, how are residuals being paid out? All of those things factor back to it just being about the numbers. But then, to your point, it also runs into the creative, because there's just a different way that we create content.
Right.
And it changes all the time. Again, it goes back to this evolution of how the industry works, and we're continuing to evolve, but we have to evolve in a way that everybody does feel like there's a level playing field and everybody can contribute, and there is some equity between all of us coming together, because it's a creative, collaborative industry, right? And we want to be able to collaborate in a way that feels equitable for all.
It does come down to the numbers, and we know that we can't all be Will Smith, we're not all going to get paid like, I don't know, Kevin Costner or whoever's making Grip. Most people aren't. Most actors, most writers are really middle class if they're lucky, right? So, I mean, it doesn't mean that, I don't think it means that everyone's going to suddenly be rich. It just, we don't want to get to the point where it feels like it's not worth it, or you're being exploited, I guess is the thing.
Absolutely. You want to have the opportunity to be able to make a good living at what you love doing.
Right.
We both are blessed to have done that and done that for a long time.
Yep.
And so there's people that come to LA and, whether on the talent side or behind the scenes, say, hey, I want to work in this business. And we should be giving them an opportunity to do so, again, in an equitable way that makes sense for everybody involved. And then just making sure that we are respectful of what that looks like. Now, I don't necessarily have the answers to that, and I don't have a side on it, but I do feel like, they're just now coming back to the table. I'm a negotiator, so I'm like, at least speak, talk.
Yeah, right.
How do we talk it out? How do we work it out? So, let's start there. And I think we will get there. And to your point, it's not that it's going to be so much of a revolution that, everybody's going to be making a lot more money, or, that it's going to shift in a large way, but there's going to be enough of a shift that, again, people will feel good about being in the industry, continuing to want to be in the industry and being part of this creative industry.
Do you think artificial intelligence is a real threat to talent, and especially to writers?
Honestly, no.
No, you don't.
I don't. Because I know and have represented so many amazing, talented writers, and AI can't create that. AI is pulling information from a data source that's very technical. And so there's certain nuances that all of a sudden you're not going to have, AI writing scripts. Can they write a quick bio? Can they write different little, blurbs, etc.? Yeah, but that's not even going to be on point or right. You still need that human, experience writer that's going to bring a certain tone, feel, etc. to the table, perspective, all of those things. AI doesn't have those things. Now, the other pieces of it in terms of using it for editing or production purposes or other things like that are more
voices,
technical things that, hey, we can't bring this person back to do a voiceover, so can we put this line in to fix it? Because they're not available. It's not that you're trying not to use them. It's just sometimes you're in the middle of production and it's like, hey, we didn't get this line, or this line didn't come out clear. Can we replicate the voice for this line? I think it's more about those types of production tools that, by the way, we use a lot of them now. It really just speeds up the process of doing it. There's ways to do it now. So while I do think there's a concern, I think there's always a concern when technology is moving faster than people can kind of wrap their minds around. I wouldn't consider it a threat. And I also think that we're also, as we learn more, going to be able to use it in different ways as a tool.
Yeah. Well, I have a running joke about how AI is just not there yet when it comes to our robot overlords. Siri can't even find black-sounding names in my phone book. But anyway.
Absolutely.
Find LaTanya. There's no LaTanya. So, Attorney Nyanza Shaw, you're past president of the Langston Bar Association, which is a black legal society, I guess?
Yeah. It's the organization of the African-American attorneys, judges as well, law students, and legal professionals here in Los Angeles.
Are there enough black attorneys?
Oh, absolutely not.
No.
Statistically, we are 5% of the profession. And unfortunately, 10 years ago, we were 5% of the profession.
Wow. Flat line.
So while I think there's attorneys that have achieved more things, percentage-wise, like I said, we're still only 5%. So that goes back to my commitment to mentorship, being involved in the Langston Bar, supporting other attorneys outside of the entertainment industry or inside, and thinking about that and how do we expand those numbers and how do we go back to, education in elementary school, middle school, high school.
Right, that pipeline.
Yeah, the pipeline, and talk to younger kids about being attorneys.
Right. I mean, we can't all have an uncle, but we can all meet you, for example.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can't all meet you, but we can all be aware of you.
Yeah.
And I do think there's something to be said for that. You know, you wow, I can be like Attorney Nyanza Shaw. Like, I don't necessarily have to do what, my mom did or what my teacher thinks I should do.
Yeah, one of the things that I talk to, especially high school and college students about when they're thinking about law school, this idea that they are quote unquote first generation lawyers. And I always say, I'm like, you're not first generation. You might be first generation in your family, but I'm a generation ahead of you. Michelle Obama's a generation ahead of you. Ben Crump's a generation ahead of you. There's a lot of lawyers.
Right,
generations
and Johnny
and
Cochran's
years.
ahead of y'all.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there's a long line.
Thurgood Marshall's ahead of him.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
So it's changing that perspective of that challenge of saying, like you said, well, maybe no one else has an uncle, but there's a lot of lawyers. And I, again, I'm very conscious of being one of those lawyers that's visible, because as we know, representation matters. So I want people to see me. I want people to see the things that I'm doing. I want to be accessible for folks to come and ask me, not only again about what I do, but putting them in touch with the Langston Bar Association, the Black women lawyers, just so they know that we're out there and we're supporting them.
Yeah. I coincidentally, I also have an uncle who's a lawyer. I did not become a lawyer, but I may be sometimes an on-air litigator.
You definitely are that, and you do a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I've had my uncle on this show before, and he misses you guys too, but he's in the middle of a big case. He can't come on anymore. Talk to me about your company. You're owner, you're the vice president, scripted business and legal affairs for Fremantle North America. Talk to me about that role and that company.
Yeah, so Fremantle is actually a global entertainment company, and they have a lot of different things that they do, from unscripted to scripted to documentaries, etc., really around the world. We are the North America office. We have another main office in London, but we also have Fremantle-related companies in Germany, Australia, India, the Netherlands,
wow,
and beyond. And they are very much committed to creating an opportunity for different types of stories to be told, and leaning into that. And so it was exciting and a great opportunity for me to kind of go in-house and join this company after having my own practice for a long time. Again, part of it being representation and being in a space where I can be an executive level employee and have an impact on, the voices that are kind of coming in the door. And being on the scripted side in my role is, again, largely affected by the strike because of the writer's strike.
Yeah.
But it's also, with anything and any sort of evolution or change, you're leaning into the innovation of, well, what can we do? What can't we do? How do we strategically kind of place ourselves during this time as things change? And so those are the exciting pieces of what I do. And then I have a team, and we, are negotiating deals for talent, directors, producers, network deals, etc. But it's really about figuring out different ways to approach how we do business, because that's changing and is always evolving, strike or no strikes.
Absolutely. And I do want to look at that. Some people are confused about, some productions are still going. There are companies, especially independent productions, that they say it's not a waiver. It's a situation where those, I don't know the right word for it, but those companies are meeting the conditions of the unions, and they're still in production. And I also want to talk to you after news, traffic, and sports about another thing you mentioned, which is how we create content is changing. It was so interesting to me that some of the influencers and social media folks are standing in solidarity with the unions, because they could be in SAG-AFTRA or the WGA tomorrow. Talk about that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrimo when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Well, a late summer spike in COVID cases is a reminder that the virus is still out there and it's putting vulnerable people in the hospital. Plans for a booster are expected this fall, meaning it will fall in line with the annual flu shot.
The previous immunizations are not nearly as effective. The single most impactful thing you can do to protect yourself and your family is to get that booster.
Baylor infectious disease expert Dr. Peter Hotez says it's unlikely most Americans will listen. Los Angeles, California Mayor, African-American Karen Bass says it was evil for Texas Governor Greg Abbott to bus migrants to the city while it was dealing with Tropical Storm Hillary. A bus from Texas with over 36 migrants arrived in downtown L.A. Monday. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Calling all night owls, Buffalo Wild Wings is open late. Fill up on some tasty apps with an ice cold tall beer starting at $4. Late night food and drinks start at $4 from 10 till close at B-Dubs. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. 13 years after the NCAA shut him down and took his Heisman Trophy, former USC star Reggie Bush is hitting back with a lawsuit. Bush is suing the NCAA for defamation of character. Bush has scheduled a press conference Wednesday morning at the Coliseum to discuss his lawsuit. Bush claims the NCAA made false allegations about him in 2021 when the organization announced it was not reinstating his collegiate records or returning his Heisman Trophy. The NCAA reported that Bush had a pay-for-play arrangement when he was at USC from 2002 to 2005. Bush was also accused of receiving improper benefits, including a mortgage-free home for his family. To this day, Bush has not denied that he accepted improper benefits from an alleged USC booster. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Extreme heat can make you very sick and can be deadly. For Californians 65 and over, it's important to have a plan. Ask your healthcare provider if your medications affect your ability to cool down. Know the signs of heat illness and stroke, as well as the location of your nearest cooling center or air-conditioned space. And if you have loved ones over 65, be sure to check in on them on hot days. Learn how to stay safer from extreme heat at heatreadyca.com. Brought to you by the state of California.
Carson, you back!
Hey, I am Jasmine Carson, LSU Women's Basketball National Champion. I had to up my game, and this time I upped my intimate grooming routine too. Venus for Pubic Hair and Skin is the only razor and regimen specifically designed for your pubic area. Featuring a razor with a patented irritation defense bar and a skincare regimen that is dermatologist tested, Venus helps protect your pubic skin from shave irritation. Visit GilletteVenus.com to learn more about the full regimen of products.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for the Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job paid training, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus are now even putting their money in your pocket with a one-time $2,500 sign-on bonus. Let us connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in your community, then we invite you to join the team. Start your journey by submitting an application at culvercity.org/job. For more information, visit culvercitybus.com or call the live customer service operator at 310-253-6500. Again, 350-253-6500.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar,
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The bounce is back.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistent sin. On low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my
Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
I say powerhouse entertainment attorney Nyanza Shaw is with me, but I should really say executive vice president, scripted business and legal affairs at FremantleMedia North America. Speaking of places where we don't see enough black people, let alone women, it is the executive suite, right? Especially in entertainment.
Absolutely. And that's why I mentioned, like, taking this role was very important for me, because I knew that just being in that space is going to make a big difference in terms of representation, not for folks just looking at me, but folks in the building who see me there every day, like, oh, okay. And being able to have a voice in the company and a great relationship with the CEO and COO, and be able to talk to them sometimes about perspective. I know a lot of us see over the years, I honestly don't understand how it happens so often that you have these companies that make these faux pas, as they call them, because nobody's in the building and nobody's asking the questions of how something comes off. And so it is important, especially in entertainment, in this creative space where we're talking about perspectives and telling these stories, that how are we going to be authentic if that voice isn't also in the building, right? And even on the legal side, even, and not being, necessarily the creative side, it's a way to think about what those deals look like and how, how folks are getting the same and or similar types of terms that they're entitled to because of the stories that they're telling.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then we were talking about this yesterday with Jared Hill. You can only see the world through your own eyes. We all try to be fair. We try to be ethical, but you can only see the world through your own eyes. So you're going to miss something if someone's not in the room. So I asked you before News, Traffic, and Sports about how content creating is changing, because you mentioned that in passing. And the streaming, the rise of the streaming services as actual studios, but they're also tech companies. They're also these big conglomerates. How that's changed the game. We talked about it in the framing of the strike, but what about in the framing of opportunity and changing business models for creatives?
So there's a couple levels, right? Because at the base level, it's great. You have an iPhone and it has its capabilities, and you can go shoot a whole show. You can do a movie. You can put it on YouTube and put it out, right? So there is certain access on that level. And then there's a matter of being able to create and bring it to a studio or a streamer or a production company to actually get it produced for, again, for network or streamers. And making sure that since we have all of these platforms and they all need content, and there's a lot of stories to be told, that it goes back to having people in the building to be able to greenlight those projects. And then also making sure that once those projects come out, that they're amplified. I know one of the things that, was happening recently was with Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
It is a superhero movie for, Hispanic audiences, has a Latin superhero for the first time, etc. And unfortunately, it's in the middle of a strike where these actors can't go out and promote because of the SAG strike. But we want to be able to support this movie because we want to be able to see, like you said, everybody has different perspectives. People are telling their stories from their perspectives. And if we don't support these other diverse voices, then it's not reciprocated, right? So it can't always be about, hey, we want to tell our stories. But the more people that can tell their stories that are new and different and fresh and diverse, it just opens the door to do that. And so the benefit of the streamers is, again, there's a lot of platforms, there's a lot of places to get your content out. The negative piece is, how do you get in the door? Hopefully you have a great agent or a great entertainment attorney to help you get in the door and negotiate a great deal for you to be able to do a deal for that content that you're creating. But it is just different in terms of, and that was part of the evolution of this digital space of how we create content, how content is distributed, and even how we consume content. We didn't watch, shows on our phones, just a few years ago, by the way. People realize, I think YouTube's only like 10, 11 years old. There's always evolutions. And so that also changes. It's like the stories are there, but how we get them out and how people are seeing them is constantly evolving.
Yeah, I mean, as a mother of a teenager, I can testify. I call them the on-demand generation. They don't know nothing about waiting for your show to come on. What is that? You just go to YouTube or wherever they bootleg stuff. They get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I talk to young people about that. I'm like, you guys don't know the struggle of watching The Wire and having to wait every Sunday for the next episode to come out.
No, they don't know that struggle at all. But you talk about opportunity, and I feel like there is a bit of choice paralysis with all of this content. This is also the thing about standing out, right?
Yep.
I mean, the story we all know is Issa Rae, who started on YouTube with Awkward Black Girl, and then now she's like this Hollywood power player. But that is the exception, not the rule. She also went to Stanford, FYI. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it is the exception. And so, to your point, and going back to what I said, that means anybody can put anything on YouTube, right? So just because you can, everybody does, and there's a lot out there. And so, and then it's a matter of then how are we supporting those voices? How are we elevating them up so they can be the next Issa Rae? So they can be, you mentioned, there's a lot of amazing, really talented TikTok folks, influencers, etc. I don't think they're taken as seriously now as they should be because, again, they're so creative and they have their own perspective and they have stories to tell. And the fact that you can tell such an amazing story, compelling story, entertaining, funny story in 60 seconds, I mean, that's brilliant. You're not doing that in an hour. Like, to be able to have that sort of impact in short form, again, it's a different way that we're creating content.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword because on the one hand, I feel like entertainment companies and news outlets flock to things that are TikTok or online because they want to be hip and they want to be edgy on the forefront. But at the same time, there's this thing of not taking it seriously. And that's why I thought it was so interesting that a lot of these influencers are standing with SAG-AFTRA, even though they might not be members now, because they're thinking about their goals down the line is what I imagine.
Yeah, because they're performers. They're performing in a different capacity and on a different platform. But as they grow, they want to be part of the business in a more serious way, in a more equitable way. And being part of SAG, kind of brings part of that legitimacy to the table. And so I think it's the right position for them, honestly.
Yeah. And what about the future of streamers and stuff? I mean, I feel like there's agents now that just only deal with so-called influencers or online content creators. Is there emerging? Or is there a weeding out where, certain big talents like the Issa Raes are joining the establishment Hollywood kind of firms and the rest of them will fall by the wayside? Like, how do you see that now in terms of where we're going with this business?
I think the biggest question is going to be relative to those big streamers, right? Because it's actually interesting that part of when they launched as tech companies, and it is this idea that, hey, you can watch something anytime and it's on demand and you pull it up and you're, looking through the cues of what you can watch and pick that content. Even though analytically they also tell you what you should be watching because it's set up that way.
Right. The algorithm sends you stuff.
Will send you all the things. But in that way, there's an opportunity for them to kind of shift what they're doing. And it's already kind of happening because, again, as it's all about numbers, now Netflix has an ad-based component. Hulu has an ad-based component. Other companies have ad-based components.
Which means pay less and watch commercials.
Pay less and watch commercials. Again, not going to how we consume content. Their big sell initially was, hey, there's no commercials. You're just watching the show. But that's a shift. And it shows that they are also cognizant of the numbers, how much money is being made, how many viewers there are, subscribers there are. And because there is a wealth of content, some of those streamers' subscriber numbers are down.
Yep. Yeah. And also because, I mean, I think, there's a wealth of content. There's free content. Young people know how to find and hack and watch free content, even if it wasn't free in the first place. But I think there's also this part of their business model, which is we constantly have to have more subscribers. And to me, that means for those of us who are long-term subscribers, it's kind of like, well, wait a minute. It's like when they were going to not do the next season of Ozark because they're over here doing some niche content to, to try to bring on subscribers from Fiji. And I'm like, yo, I'm not hating on the ones from Fiji, but I need my season of Ozark. And I think they actually had a subscriber revolt, and they ended up bringing that show back for another season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we do have an influence, and that came about most strongly during the pandemic, right? We're all at home watching things. So like the Tiger King phenomenon probably wouldn't have happened outside of COVID, right? But we're home, we're talking about it. I never watched it.
Oh, you're brave.
I'm an independent thinker, Dominic. Once everybody's talking about it, I was like, I think I'm over it now. But even that way, again, in terms of how we choose content, we have a bigger voice using social media, sharing in a different way. It's not just me telling you, hey, I watched this show and it's a great show. You watch it. I'm plugging it. I'm talking about it. I'm posting about it, and other people are posting about it, and that does change the direction. And there was definitely a time I was a big Ozark fan. I was like, hey, we're all watching Ozark. We're all waiting for this next season to happen.
Yeah.
And we can vocalize that in a broader way, which is, kind of the benefit of social media in that way, of being fans and subscribers.
Attorney Nyanza Shaw is my guest. Got to ask you when we come forward, your advice for reinventing ourselves. You made such a great point. It's a changing business. If we stick with what we think it is or what it was, we shall be the entertainment dinosaurs. Love to get your thoughts on that when we continue on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Are you looking for a tax preparation firm that understands the unique financial challenges of African American business owners? Then look no more. Wealth Management Financial Advisors can prepare and file your individual and business taxes. They're committed to providing their clients with the best possible service. See how they make the greatest impact on your taxes. Find them at wealthmanagementlb.com or call them at 562-427-8877. That's 562-427-8877.
When it comes to special needs educational and health resources, Special Needs Network has you covered. On Saturday, August 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Jane Addams Park in Lawndale, Special Needs Network and California Assemblywoman Tina McKinnon invite you and your entire family for a fun-filled day at a back-to-school and health fair. Featuring music, live performances, exhibitions from your favorite professional LA sports teams, a petting zoo, pony rides, a kids zone, and professional haircuts for kids and teens. Get critical early identification and intervention resources, health and dental screenings, bags of fresh fruits and vegetables, and an opportunity to win fantastic prizes. Free backpacks and school supplies while they last for students, and a chance to win a free cell phone or tablet from TrueConnect with an EBT card. Visit SNNLA.org or on Facebook or Instagram at Special Needs Network.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new place. Nothing is everyday.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 is inviting you to join us on Saturday, September 16th, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for our very first economic empowerment event for the community. This event is free and is powered by Caltrans. We're doing this in association with Rambo House, and here's Rambo to tell you more.
Contracts. I'm going to say it again for all of us small business owners out there. Contracts. Rambo House, KBLA, Tavis, me. Oh my God, this is going to be massive. I truly thank Caltrans for giving us the opportunity to focus on contracts. Listen, that's what it's all about to be a small business in LA. That's how we hire our own. That's how we expand our community is contracts. KBLA1580.com is for you to have a seat at our contracts-focused event. Contract Ready does it again. We had over 900 last time. So you guys know how exciting this is. And if you just think that you want to get into contracts and you're close to it, bring your friends out for September 16th at the Marriott Hotel. Listen, you know where to register. KBLA1580.com. Come see me. I can't wait to see you. Let's do it, Tavis.
So be sure to go to KBLA1580.com for all the details. We'll see you Saturday, September 16th.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney Nyanza Shaw is with me. She's in the entertainment space. She's a past president of the John M. Langston Bar Association and also executive vice president of scripted business and legal affairs for FremantleMedia North America. You can find out more about them if you want to. Go to Fremantle.com and you can learn about the shows and the various projects that they have going on. So what advice do you give to those of us who are still in this business or those that are just getting in about, the changing business? How to, I don't want to say stay relevant because I feel like people do dumb stuff to try to be relevant, but, but to be viable, I guess.
To be viable, is a better way to put it. I think it's twofold. One, you also want to make sure that you know about the business side of it, right? And so being knowledgeable, I think, is the key. Because then you can go into a space of being innovative because you want to know how something works in order to be able to disrupt it. And I think, like you said, when some people are just trying to be relevant, they think, oh, I'll just be disruptive. But it's like, if you don't know what you're disrupting, it's harder to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so knowing the business, knowing how that works, knowing how you can get in, knowing, the things that are relative to contracts, business, the unions, getting an agent, whatever that is in terms of, if you're on the talent side. But then also, I always say, like, creatives create. So lean into that. You do have your own story. You do have your own perspective. Make something.
Make something.
Make something. Do something. I've dealt with a lot of stuck artists. Creatives get into that place where they're like, whether it's writer's block or, can't write a song, can't write a script, thinking about the things. No, just literally, like Nike style, sometimes you got to just do it and get past that block. But and I also think that there's a great way to expand what being creative is. That's changed a lot in the industry, and that's something that's evolved where it's like, you don't have to just be an actor, you don't just have to be a music artist, and you don't have to just be a painter, and, explore all of your creativity and think about ways that can also elevate how you're exploring this industry.
It seems like a great time for people who are multi-talented or have different angles into their creativity because of the streaming, because of online, because there's so many platforms. Even if it sucks, at least you're keeping your creative juices flowing.
Yeah, and absolutely. And you want to be able to do that. And then the other thing is that it's very interesting to me when you talk to creatives and it's like, oh, I don't listen to that or I don't watch that. Or, that's also part of knowing the business and knowing what's out there and recognizing that your voice is different and you do have a unique voice. Even if you're just sitting at home and you're kind of being a hater, right? It's like, oh, I could write this show better. Or I could act better in this piece. Okay, well, go do that. Show that to us.
Exactly. And, it's funny because sometimes when I try to watch a lot of content so I can talk about it, I'm like, well, sometimes I'm going, ooh, I need to step up my game. And then other times I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing better than I thought.
Exactly.
Either way,
so that's
it
the
helps.
other side. Yeah,
Right.
It can also be inspiring because
Right.
it's like, hey, you're going to watch something and be like, oh, I wish I could write that.
Yeah.
How can I write that?
Yeah.
Or how can I bring something to the screen that's, equivalent or even better or even almost as good as what I'm seeing? And so you do have to pay attention to those things.
Yeah. Attorney Nyanza Shaw, I'm so happy you could spend the hour with us. When we come forward, I want to get your quick take on where you want us to go to learn all those things that we should be learning, and whatever you want to leave us with before we hand this mic to Mr. Tavis Smiley. It's really been an informative and fun hour, and we'll wrap it up when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Support comes from Getty, presenting The Gospel at Colonus, a theatrical event under the stars that reimagines the story of Oedipus. Blending Greek myth with Black spiritual practice, the show follows the blinded Oedipus as he seeks redemption after a lifetime of tragedy. Co-produced by Court Theater, conceived and adapted by Lee Brewer, with music composed by Bob Telson. Thursdays through Saturdays this September at the Getty Villa Museum. Tickets available now at getty.edu.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
KBLA Talk 1580. Okay, we got three and a half minutes before Tavis Smiley. So where should we be going to enrich our minds so we're not walking around like a bunch of dumb bimbo talent?
Couple different places. One is YouTube.
Hello.
I have a great story. I met a young lady and her grandmother's from Haiti, and she learned how to knit. And I was like, "Oh, did your grandmother teach you how to knit?" She's like, "No, YouTube." Now, you don't want to take all the information, but in terms of like, hey, do I want to learn how to edit, or do I want to learn how to do different things? If you're beyond that, there's an amazing association called California Lawyers for the Arts that you can learn about contracts. There's a lot of lawyers who volunteer there to help and give talks on different aspects of the industry that you can learn about. If you are an actor, there's the Television Academy. You may not necessarily be a member, but again, they put on programs, etc. If you're an artist, get down with the Grammys, with National Recording Academy. Think about the Motion Picture Academy. Depending on where you're going, they do a lot of programming. Even at the Grammy Museum, there's a lot of great platforms, informational sessions, artist talks that you can learn from.
Yeah.
And because I'm a nerd, read. Variety, Billboard, Hollywood Reporter. Know what's going on. That's what I said, figuring out what's in the business and how things are moving and shifting. You're going to read about them in the industry trades. So those are a couple, few places you can go for resources.
If you did all that, you would be very well prepared.
Very well prepared.
More prepared than most, yeah.
Yeah. I know it's harder now with streaming, but another great tool is read the credits or Google the credits and find out who's producing what, who's writing what, what company distributes different things. I had clients that are like, oh, well, we want to do this type of show and we want to work with this company. And it's like, but that company doesn't produce those types of shows. What are you talking about?
Like, you're going to an ice cream store for steak.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's not.
So think about that.
Yeah,
The first question I have when talent comes and even in-house at these companies, we have these great projects. It's like, well, where can this go? Where can this live? And as we know, as being consumers, certain things that that are on CBS and different things that are on FX, and and paying attention to that is also important.
Yeah, what do people specialize in? Where is your home? Well, Attorney Nyanza Shaw, this has been great. I've learned a lot, and it's been a pleasure talking with you.
This has been a great time chatting with you too, Dominique. I appreciate the opportunity. And, I said the hour goes quickly, but I appreciate you leading me through the conversation. And it's been a joy chatting with you.
Absolutely. You guys know what's up. Tavis Smiley is up next. He's got a great show on deck for you. As always, don't forget to pop in and see the podcast. They're on our app at KBLA 1580 or wherever you get your podcast. Just type in KBLA 1580 and Dominique DePrima. And then you'll see a whole bunch of shows. History is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, be safe, be well, be creative. One love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike.